Good afternoon or morning, everyone. My name's Matt Strain, and I'm here for the April DadX discussion. Today, we are actually welcoming Caitlin Groff. Caitlin is one of the people over at Goldfish Swim School. This is a swim school that both my kids go to. They absolutely love it. And we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of swim lessons for our kids, not just for their own safety, but also for all the other benefits that it brings to them. Um, Caitlin's been working with Goldfish for over 6 years. She enjoys swimming, playing pickleball, and she's got a son of her own. She facilitates both curriculum and lifeguarding workshops for all of the Raleigh-Durham locations. And, she is a certified Goldfish Swim School swimologist, which is a title designated for those with the highest knowledge and application of the lesson curriculum. She's also a certified lifeguard instructor and pool operator, both nationally and for Wake County here in North Carolina. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. And here we have Caitlin joining us. Hey, thank you for joining us, Caitlin. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this opportunity.
So one of the things is, we're moving into the spring now. The weather is warming up. All the kids are screaming to go to the beach or play in the pool. Or, I believe last weekend while I was out of town, I came home and the slip and slide was set up in the backyard. So, the kids are obviously looking for water. And as parents, we all get a little nervous. I mean, it feels scary sometimes when you start thinking about putting your kids in the water and worrying about, are they going to be safe? Can I keep an eye on them and the rest of it, which is where swim lessons come in. And it's such a maze. My oldest is 10. I think we've had her doing swim lessons at least 4 different places. 3 before we found Goldfish, which seemed to be a really, really great fit for her. And while I know Goldfish is here in the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill Triangle, you guys have locations nationwide. So tell us a little bit about Goldfish and how they operate.
Yeah, so a little bit about our program. So we start as young as 4 months old, and then we go all the way to 12 years old. So we're working with a lot of ranges of like different kids in our program. We are a base safety school. So the most important thing for each of our kids is, if they get stuck, what can they do that they'll gain those skills, not only use it in Goldfish, but then use it outside of Goldfish as well. So with our curriculum, it's really based on, muscle memory, water conditioning, getting them comfortable and acclimated to that water. We work a lot on floating on their back. That is a really important skill that they can use in any open water. And then also, how do they climb out of the pool? A lot of our kids, if they fall in the pool or if they fall anywhere and they fall into that water, they then look up and they're like, okay, I see that ladder or I see that wall right across from them. So we're trying to get it in their systems that the closest wall is always going to be right behind them. And then we kind of influence that with all right, how do we hold on to the wall? How do we get out the proper way where we don't exhaust ourselves? So that's one of many benefits with our program. And then just using certain tools to help them more so, again, getting comfortable before they go into the technique of the stroke, which is so much fun to be a part of it. With the benefits of what we provide, with the younger kids, even our older kids too, it provides a better eating and sleeping patterns. It's better exercise for the kids. It works off the whole body. Kids will develop that independence and self-confidence that sometimes they're a little afraid in the beginning. And then once they master the skill, it's really just cool to see that they're proud of themselves. And it's also really cool because the environment here with all of our staff members, we're so happy and engaging. So once a kid masters a skill, you won't see it just from the kid, but you'll see the instructor so happy, and then the parents or the whole deck team, which is kind of incredible just overall. Our whole wall, for the viewing, is glass, so you can see all of our lessons going on. And then with safety being, our number one biggest thing, we ensure that all of our staff members are lifeguard and CPR certified. So we want in our facility, our staff to feel safe. We want our kids to feel safe, and then our parents too while they're here, if it's in the water or outside of the water. And then we encourage our parents, to be really close to them in the water, encourage them, and make sure that they feel just as confident too. But that's a little bit about our program and what we teach and stand behind.
Okay. And one of the things that really struck us when we came into Goldfish is that the overall student to instructor ratio that you guys have is phenomenal. I mean, is there like a cap limit or something that you guys set? Because it never seems like there's a huge crowd with any one teacher.
Yes, so it just depends on what level you are. So if it's for the younger kids, 4 months to 2 years, the ratio is 6-1. And then for our other classes, it's 4-1. So it's set to that smaller class just so the teacher can work to each individual a little bit more, because we know all of our kids are going to be at different pace, especially in the class. And we want to make sure that we're teaching to everyone and not like the full class. So we make sure we have it that condensed kind of smaller class group.
Yeah. And honestly, what's amazing about that is that, again, my kids are both at Goldfish. They do a 30-minute lesson.
Yeah.
And when I compare that to the other places where they've gone to take swim lessons, in that 30 minutes, they're getting easily 20, 25 minutes of actual swim time. As opposed to in some of the other settings where it was a much larger group of kids compared to the instructor, where, they were getting a lot less time compared to the amount of time that we were spending at the actual place.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I love that you guys do, and Lord knows my kids love it too, is that all of your instructors hand out these little ribbons. You've got like schools of them.
Yes, we do. So with that, we encourage, Goldfish, we always want to teach like the science of swim play. So it's when kids learn best through playing. So encouraging them once they mastered a skill to give them a ribbon and like what they have accomplished. If they moved up a level, we give them a ribbon. It's kind of a fun way for them to kind of like see how well they're doing. Even if it's a kid that's nervous too, we're like, oh wait, if you sit down, we can give you a ribbon. What's your favorite color? So it's very like encouraging that way too. And then we have like all sorts of different colors, sometimes rainbow ones too. So they're just like, oh my gosh, I want all of them. We're like, okay, you'll collect them.
Okay. I haven't seen rainbow ones yet, but if they show up, my daughter will
yes.
fight for that.
Yeah, I think it's the birthday ribbon.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's rainbow. It's like all the different colors.
Oh, sweet.
We'll have to get your daughter one of those for sure.
Now you brought up the different levels. Now, Goldfish has a lot of different levels. I mean, obviously you start with the 4-month-old little kids, and we started well after that. So I know nothing about those levels. What levels do you call those?
So we call our parents from starting for the little kids, let's say 4 months. It's called mini 1. So it goes to 4 months to around 15 to 16 months. And it's just parent with the child and the instructor. Then we have, again, mini 2, which they're a little bit older, 16 months to 2 years old. And then once they turn 2, they go into a class by themselves, or there's an option there for them. And they're called mini 3, and then we have junior classes. So all the beginner classes, it's honestly, our curriculum is very similar. So it's just based then on the age group right then. And then when they get more into comfortable in the water and doing those certain skills, then it goes off of skill level of like where they'll grow to.
Okay. And then once they pass the mini level, where does it go from there?
So once they pass the mini level, it's just all about age. They'll go to a mini 3, which they'll sit with some of their like friends, students outside and be with the instructor. That is one of our hardest classes because they get so like used to like having like their parents with them to now no more parents. So that's why we encourage a lot of our like staff members when they're in the mini lane to take the kids as much as they can, even though that their parents there. But it's kind of an engagement to see how they would do on their own and more independence on like sitting and waiting their turn.
Right. And then once they get past that, is that when they move into the gliders?
No, then that goes into juniors, and then you go into glider. So it goes junior one, junior two. So junior one, it's just a beginner level for 3 to 4 year olds. And then if they either age out and go to a glider, or let's say they're doing really good, they'll move up and they'll go to a junior two.
Okay. Because I know both my kids started off at glider one.
Yes.
And to put that in perspective for those of you who are watching and aren't familiar with Goldfish, at glider one, both my kids were willing to get in a pool, but they had never been in a pool or the ocean or a lake or anything without some sort of puddle jumper on if it was over their head. So they always had a flotation device. They could probably doggy paddle if they had to, but it was very panic inducing for them.
Yeah.
And they came in at that level. That was right around a year ago. It's been right about a year. My son is promoted up to glider 3 right now. He turned 7 today. The big skill that he's working on right now is side breathing while doing freestyle or forward crawl is what they call it in other parts of the world. He keeps trying to lift his head up to breathe instead of just turning to the side. To be honest, I know plenty of adults who can't do that.
Yeah.
Much less
absolutely.
I mean, this isn't a normal skill. My daughter, on the other hand, who's 10, has moved through all the gliders, has gone Pro 1. She's now in Pro 2. Her big challenge right now is she's learning the butterfly stroke, which is something that honestly I remember as a kid seeing in like swim meets and at the Olympics, but have never actually understood why anyone would do that because it looks really inefficient and painful. But the amount of confidence and skill that they have built up doing these classes is just amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible to see. That's so good for your daughter. She's almost a swim force. That's going to be the last level too in our program.
And
So
swim force is competitive, is it not?
it's competitive, but since we're mostly like not a competitive like school, we just try and have them be competitive with their own scores. So we do still have swim force meets and stuff like that, but it's completely different from like your normal swim force or like meet that goes. We make posters, we have pizza, we make them all scream for each other. So it's competitive in its own way, but not as your normal swim meet for sure.
As a back of the pack amateur triathlete, I totally get that.
Yeah.
There's a whole community of people who show up for these races, and we have no delusions. Like, I'm not going to stand on the podium.
Yeah.
Those people are way faster than me, and the odds of me standing among them, maybe if I just keep going up in age group until there's only 3 of us in my age group, maybe then I'll hit a podium.
I believe
But
in
again,
you.
kind of like you said, it's about competing against my last race.
Yeah.
Was my swim time faster? Was my bike time faster? And you're saying it's kind of the same thing here?
Yes, 100%. So it's more so like their score. So we keep track of like how fast they did. They still get a first, second, and third ribbon, but everyone gets a ribbon. Everyone gets a little thing that says their name on it, what were they competing in and things like that.
Which is good. I mean,
yeah,
that's important. Now, I will have to say, one of the things that you guys do that I know my kids really enjoy is that you guys do the family swim hours.
Yes, we love family swim so much. But that's an opportunity for, our families to come in with their kids and either practice on some of the skills that they're learning, or it's just for fun. We have toys in our pool that you guys can use, or you guys can bring your own toys, like water toys, and you can just get in the water and swim with them, helping them a little bit more getting used to kind of being in the water and being kind of in our facility too. We talk to a lot of our families about, the younger kids that are a little bit more scared of the water, and we encourage those just so they get used to, again, our facility and like our water. We have, islands in our water too. So it's all kind of things that are new that could then help them with their classes that will come up.
See, you bring up the islands. I'm assuming that's the little platforms that you're talking
Yes,
about.
yeah, they're the little platforms in the pool we have. We use them a lot for our younger level classes, and the big thing is for our younger level classes, when we're working with, like, water conditioning, muscle memory, the start to them having them swim the full length of the pool, we have the islands in place where they're only swimming, like, 10 feet or 15 feet until they master that skill, and then they would move up, like how your kids are in Glider 3 and Pro 2, then they would work more so on the skill itself, on like the stroke and the technique of it.
Right. Because one of the things that's fun is that we go to the open swim. During the summer, we try to do it both days because I think it's Tuesday and Sunday.
Yes, yes.
We try to do both days during the summer. Obviously, when school's in session, we can't make it on Tuesday without pulling the kids out of school. But one of the things that I've really enjoyed seeing is just the kids relax and they're just having fun, which is something that they don't necessarily get to do in class all the time.
Yeah, no, 100%. And actually, we do have one on Friday nights. And
Oh,
yeah, so that one's from like 6:45 to 8 o'clock. And I will say, so my son goes to the one in our Cary location, but all of his classmates come to Goldfish Cary. So they have their class, and then right after is like the open swim. And it's so cute. It's they just like group together and they're like doing their own things, swimming and stuff, and they're kind of like
well,
all that.
that's what I was thinking because my kids are doing like the 5:30ish swim
Mhm.
classes.
Oh, okay, so
So
that would work
yeah,
out.
that would be enough time to like duck away, grab dinner, and come
Mhm.
back.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people do like, well, since we have those tables, sometimes we'll like bring their food or just sit in a chair too. Or I know there's picnic tables outside by Chapel Hill.
Right. Well, one of the things that I was going to bring up that I do love about Goldfish is that even when your kids aren't necessarily, in a where mom or dad is in the water with them, she wasn't kidding. There's like an entire wall of windows, and you just sit down, and no matter which lane your kid is in, you can sit down in front and you can watch the entirety of your child's lesson. There's a lot of one-on-one time. As you had said earlier, um, 4-to-1 is the maximum ratio that you guys will do. I've seen it where my kids have an entire 30 minutes with one instructor. Or where there's two instructors working with one group of 3 or 4 kids so that everybody is getting this personalized attention. It's great to be able to sit and watch as a parent. Not only do they have the instructors there, they've also got a lifeguard on duty at all times. There's a lifeguard for the open swim days as well. And I will point out, you are not required to get in the pool with your kids on open swim day. I've seen quite a few parents, myself included sometimes, who we have things that we need to get done. Y'all have a decent Wi-Fi there. I've actually let my kids get in the pool to play while I keep an eye on them through the glass to make sure that they're not wreaking havoc. And I've been able to knock out some of the paperwork that I have to do for the National At-Home Dad Network because I'm the secretary. So I actually have a bunch of paperwork that has to get done. And I can get some things done on my laptop while I'm there. Excuse me. I do apologize for the coughing. Unfortunately, my kids brought the crud home, and I seem to have gotten a really good batch of it in my lungs. So I hope I'm not blowing anybody's ears out. Now, with the Goldfish Swim School, is there? I know that with your pricing, we generally purchase like packages
Mhm.
where you guys will do different levels of packages. Where one package is so many classes and they throw in little bonuses like, free goggles or, towels or little bags and that type of thing. One thing that you do that is absolutely hilarious, in my opinion, is you have the little cards that let the kids get their snacks.
Yes.
So they've got a display of quarter candy, and then they have like snacks that are $1.
Mhm.
And I mean, the quarter candy is exactly what you think it is. It's Smarties, it's Dum Dum lollipops, it's things that all the kids love. And the snacks are everything from bags of chips to like giant cereal,
Yeah.
um, fruit snacks. But it's nice because it gives you the ability to offer the kids a reward,
Mhm.
as the parent, when they come out. In addition to like the instructors giving out the little ribbons, there's this really proud parent moment where you're sitting out in the viewing area and you're watching your kid's lesson, and one of the employees comes back and starts calling out your kid's name, and they're like, we're looking for Patrick's parents, or we're looking for Lily's parents. And you raise your hand and they come over and they hand you a card with the ribbon attached to it, letting you know that your kid has been promoted from like glider 1 to glider 2 or glider 3 to pro or whatever else. At which point, you're encouraged to immediately go to the desk and reschedule, because you've got to get your kid into the next level of class. And you guys have been amazing in all the time that we have been taking lessons there, which is a little over a year now. I think we had a 3-week period where we weren't able to coordinate both their lessons at the same time.
Oh, got you.
And it was because everything was full.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing was one of them was at 4:30 and the other one was at 5.
Okay.
Or maybe it was 5 and 5. Yeah, 4:30 and 5. And I think just last week, they finally worked it out where they're both at 5 now again.
Oh,
So
I
like
love that.
3 weeks of staggering, and then we were able to jump in on a waitlisted group for my son to get into a glider 3 at the same time.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
it is incredibly, incredibly convenient. Now, one of the other things that you guys have is that your pool is available year round. It is not only a heated pool, but like the entire sealed pool room is like tropical rainforest level heat.
Yes. Yeah, so our pool is heated at 90 degrees and then our air temperature is at 92. So we promote like when we sit those younger kids out of the water when they're waiting for their term, it should be like shiver free. So they're not cold while they're waiting their turn. And then for our younger kids, it's just a safety thing when we sit them out of the water. So if they do fall in, we hear it and it's not like a silent thing. But it's so fun. It's definitely that beach vibe that goes around from even like on the other wall, we have like this whole painting of like fish and stuff like that. That's like encouraging for the kids too. But yeah, it's nice and warm in there. When you go in there and you have like your regular clothes, like jeans and like a long sleeve shirt, you might be like, oh man, this is too hot.
I will warn those parents who wear glasses, they will fog up when you clear the door.
Yeah.
I have walked in there plenty of times and been like, oh, wait, hold on, can't see.
Oh no.
And had to take my glasses off to be able to like navigate my way through. But it really is nice because the kids don't end up shivering or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then, after we leave, you've got all of the changing rooms that are available, and, the little swimsuit dryers and all that type of thing. And it's a really family friendly environment. My kids have made friends with the kids that they're in classes with and hang out with. They actually look forward to going. But on top of learning to be better swimmers, one of the big things that Goldfish has done is I have found that it's really changed just their overall confidence level in themselves.
No, I love that. Yeah, that's our goal for all of our kids. I will say, speaking on my son too, I can definitely see a more confidence of just his social kind of group too, like not just in the water, but outside too. Now he's confident to do more things. And it's so nice to see. I will say sometimes it does take, a little bit to get to that goal, but once it is reached, it's much appreciated. And we see that a lot with our other students too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of that. And then, of course, as much as I hate to bring up the sore topic, I mean, there is always the safety issues of swimming. The reality is we live in a world where there's a lot of water. Whether you're at the beach, whether your kids are going over to a friend's house that might have a pool in the backyard. Again, I was an outdoorsy kid when I was growing up. Me and my friends used to go like run around in the woods. I grew up in southern Louisiana where we played in swamps and bayous and random lakes that we probably should never, like ponds that we should never have been swimming in, but we totally jumped into. And there's a lot of comfort that comes from me as a parent knowing that like even if they may not be like a competitively strong swimmer, they're not in danger being around water.
Yeah, that is definitely our main goal. I will say next month too, given that it's May, it's water safety awareness. So you'll see a lot of on social media if you follow us or any goldfish, kind of them posting things that like what parents can do or what parents can say to their kids too. If they see someone in trouble, that they throw something, not instead of like going in and trying to help them themselves. And then sometimes it's just that refresher of saying, oh, guys, just remember like arm's length away from your kids. Make sure you have a guardian, even if there is a lifeguard that is watching or is close to the pool or any body of water that's around, because it can be scary. Because when you think about it, drowning comes into play with anything with water related. And that is one of the most causes of death with kids under 5 years old. So it's very scary, and hopefully we can spread that awareness a little bit more on what kids can do, what families can do to kind of help, with what we can to prepare them.
Now, again, I know that we talked about how you guys are nationwide. The goldfishswimschool.com is you guys' website. There is a location finder on there. I know I can't speak for all of them, but I know the one that we work with in Chapel Hill, they're generally closed on Monday. But the rest of the week they're open, and they've got plenty of different times that they're offering lessons. It really is a great organization and a great opportunity for families. If there isn't a Goldfish Swim School near one of these parents, what recommendations do you have for like other options that they have for water safety for their kids?
I would say, I mean, if there isn't a goldfish by them, just even finding any swim school for them, just to kind of have that consistent like day and time, get that into their schedule, especially going into, our summertime when we take vacations, or just simply see if you can go to, a facility that does have a pool and you can work with your kid on back float. I think that is one of the most important skills for our kids, being comfortable on their back and being able to float, if it's calling out for safety or if it's catching, a breath.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being helpful. And as far as again, we were talking earlier before we came on. I grew up in the '70s as an older dad with young kids. Things were very, very different when I was young. I don't remember any of my friends going to swim school. You just learned to swim like your parents taught you. Um, Myself included, lots of kids were just pushed into the deep end, and you learned to tread water pretty quick, or somebody just reached out and grabbed your arm and yanked you back up. Um, for the parents that want to teach their kids how to swim, and don't want that kind of traumatic experience for them, obviously, the back float is a good place to start. What about like actual like forward movement swimming? I mean, what would you recommend for a stroke? I know when I was a kid, I found breaststroke really easy because I just imitated the frogs that I saw that were, around Louisiana.
Yeah, I think that one's a good one too. And then I would say encourage them, if it depends on the age group. So if it's more so a younger child, having them just stand on the edge of the pool and jumping to the parent, I think more so to get that like more so across the board on being on top of the surface and working on more so putting their face in, most likely putting their arms out just to get leveled, and then almost going into those pulls and kicks. So I would start that for a younger kid. For older kid, breaststroke is great. Backstroke is great too because they can catch their back or breath but also freestyle as well because they're doing that pulling motion that they should know when they were younger, and then now it's going into either like a lean arm rollover breathing, rolling over, or even a side breath kind of thing. I think the best thing too for the younger kids is start where they can maybe touch and just hold their hands and practice putting their face in the water and walking, and then encouraging them to like lift their feet up so then they can focus again on top of that surface.
That does make that does make sense. I will say one side benefit of kids at swim classes is that neither one of my children scream nearly as much when it comes time to wash their hair on bath day.
That's so
They
funny.
used to. They've gotten a little bit used to the water being on their face, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Now, I will point out, there are lots of different swim schools out there. Goldfish is just one of them. They're the one that I use. They were the ones that were kind enough to volunteer one of their employees' time to come and actually speak with us today, and we really do appreciate that. I will say for anybody who's watching live, you can type comments and questions into the comment section on YouTube, and we will see those questions live. We currently haven't had any. One of the things that I was going to ask is, how did you get involved in doing this? Because again, swim instructor was never on the like career guides back when I was in high school.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will say, I think I've always had a passion for swimming and just being around the water. And it's actually so cool because I learned that passion from my dad. So it was kind of cool to do this because, my dad kind of had that passion for the water and passed it down to me. When I was older, in high school, I'm like, what am I going to do? I didn't think this was really an option. It was not until like I was in college and I saw them opening up the Cary location. And I will say, I just started as a swim instructor here, and I just slowly worked my way up in the business. And now I get to oversee 3 of our schools and safety wise. Another thing, too, that got me into it, I have seen firsthand on how it looks, more so on the negative side of how water can be so dangerous. So I think, being here around the water and just encouraging families and staff members certain things just to help them so they don't have to go through certain situations like that is kind of inspirational for me as well. But I
Yeah.
absolutely love my job. I think it's one of the best jobs ever. You get to be in the water like consistently, and we get to meet so many new people, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean it has. You guys have been a dream to work with as a parent. I literally remember. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were driving in, and my son's class was scheduled at 4:30, and my daughter's was at 5. And we left the house on time, and there was a wreck on the highway.
Hmm.
And it became abundantly clear that there was no way in the world that we were going to make it there on time for his class. He was going to miss at least half of it. And I called up, and they were able to squeeze him into a class at 5 o'clock with her so that he didn't have to miss any of his pool time, which was just, it's a little thing, but it's the little things like that that really do make a huge difference.
Yeah. And our staff loves doing that. Like whenever we have the extra help and we can kind of, help families out a little bit more with that, they're always down to get in the water. If we have an extra DS or a lifeguard or even a manager sometimes too, will be like, let me just put my suit on. We'll work it out.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, look, I do want to thank you for volunteering your time. I really, really do appreciate it. I encourage everyone to go check out the Goldfish Swim School's website. If there isn't one in your area, look into another swim school, look into another option. Swim skills are important for your kids, not just for safety. It helps them feel more confident in general. My daughter told me right around, or actually it was Easter weekend, that we took the training wheels off of her bike, and she rode a 2-wheel bike for the first time. And literally after 3 laps around the park, she parked next to me and said, "Okay, Dad, I want to do a triathlon with you now."
Oh, that's so sweet.
So So we have to work on getting her up to, there's actually a kids triathlon that's here in North Carolina that they throw every year. So we have to get her up to where she can swim, I think it's 100 yards without stopping.
Oh, that's
You know,
awesome. That's
yeah. So
that's awesome. We can maybe talk on Friday too, maybe what else
yeah.
we can do to kind of help her with that.
Well, she's not going to be doing it this year. It's going to be next
Okay.
year.
Next year, okay.
This year's triathlon schedule is already set.
Oh, gotcha.
It'll be 2025. But the kids triathlon that they do, it's just outside of Charlotte, and it's a 100-mile or 100-yard swim, a 5K bike ride, so 3.1 miles on the bike, and then like a 0.6-mile run.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like basically, it's like 100K or a 100-meter swim, a 5K bike ride, and a 1K run. Just enough for the kids to wet their whistle and get hooked on it.
Yeah.
But again, there's not a chance in the world that she would have been able to do any of it before learning to swim. The big hang up until now has been the training wheels, but we got that taken care of now. I do want to thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. I'm not seeing any questions coming in from anybody. So on behalf of the National At-Home Dad Network, I do want to thank you for joining us. I want to remind everybody that's watching that, please check out our website, which is athomedad.org. We are a 100% volunteer run and operated organization. If you're interested in volunteering with us, feel free to reach out to Dale. He's our volunteer coordinator. Dale at athomedad.org. If you're going to be in the area, Home Dad Con in 2024, which is the largest home dad convention in the country, is going to be in St. Louis, Missouri this year. We're in the Drury Hotel, literally across the street from the Arch. You are right across the street from the St. Louis Arch. It's going to be going from October 17th through 19th. You can find all the details on our website. Just like all of our previous conventions, it is exactly what you think it is. It's professional development for professional dads. We advocate for families where dad's the primary caregiver. And, this is an opportunity for us to network, get to spend a little bit more time with some other guys who know what our lives are like, and get to become better dads. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody who joined us live, and thank all of you who are watching this on the replay, whether that's on Facebook or LinkedIn or on YouTube. And we will see you guys next month on May 15th, I believe. Yeah. Now I'm second guessing myself. This is what happens when you take lots of cold medicine. Yes, I believe it is on May the 15th. We're going to have Buck Robinson, who is a dad friend of mine who lives in Virginia. And we're going to be discussing Buck's journey from an out-of-shape dad to an Ironman. Buck did some athletic activities when he was younger, and like many of us, as we get older and we have kids, we start to let the physical end of things go. And Buck had seen enough of it and started working to change his body, change his mentality. And not only did he complete the, multiple full 140.6-mile Ironman races, but he managed to do that while balancing being a husband and a father and everything else, and not having his family kill him over it. So we're going to talk to him about balancing all that out. So we hope to see all of you guys in May. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us. And please check us out on the web at athomedad.org. Kristen, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.